Welcome to the Chimney and Fireplace Success Network, a weekly broadcast sponsored by CVC Success Group, hosted each week by industry speaker, coach, author, and educator Sheryl Isenhour. Our presentations are produced to assist business owners and managers in turning their business dreams into their business realities. And now, here is your host, Sheryl Isenhour.
You know, as we make this journey and we travel through this thing called life, there's a wall that we all must face. And you know, it's defined by two words. The two words are rejection or rejections and objection or objections. Because there are going to often be times that you're going to face rejection and objection to your thought processes, your plans, everything that you do. But you see, to be successful, you got to anticipate the times that we will face these challenges. As an example, you're driving down the road and there's a stoplight ahead and you've got a green light. But at the same time, you always need to anticipate that somebody may run the red light and run right into you. So you got to be prepared. You got to be prepared with what these words actually mean. So what I'd like you to do is stick with me as I return in just a minute, as I always do with the rest of the story, because I want to go over the meaning of these two words and how you prepare for each so that as you face them, you'll move forward.
Bringing your team to the level of expertise you expect and want from them is a job in itself. And let's be honest, in our industry, is the learning ever really over? Why not turn training over to the experts at the CVC Success Group? Subject matter experts in your industry have joined forces to create the CVC Academy, online, on-site, or live streaming. Training for your team in format options that work best for their individual needs. CVC Success Group has thought of everything to help put you and your team on the path to success.
So let's talk about these two words. The first one I want to talk to you about is the word rejection. And what does it actually mean? Reject means I reject your ideas. Or it could be I reject you. It could also mean I reject what you're offering. I reject what you want to sell me. This is the meaning of the word rejection. And if you research this in Webster, Webster says the following. Webster defines this as dismissing or refusal of an offer or a proposal. In other words, I totally reject your idea. I reject you, or it could be your product. It could be your service, or it could be a combination of these. Now, objection, as defined by Webster, is an expression or feeling of disapproval or opposition, a reason for disagreeing. But also, an objection should be viewed as a request for more information. An objection can often be turned into an acceptance, simply if we supply the information the other person needs to make a positive decision to agree with us. Maybe it's to follow our directives. Maybe it's to buy our product or our services. If we look at these two words together, it'll look something like this. Here's the difference. A rejection comes at you as a definite no. The prospect is not going to buy from you now or ever. An objection should actually be looked at as a maybe, because simply the prospect is not ready to buy, because you've not overcome their concerns or addressed their pain points. They may just be very busy. They may feel overwhelmed. They're not ready for that additional information yet. And you see, this is what you have to keep in mind, because we're not just talking about selling products. We're talking about selling your ideas, your concepts to those that you lead, because leadership is a form of sales. Do you want to win? Do you not want to face rejection or objection or even a combination to the two? There's an easy answer. And where's this answer? The answer lies in your method of preparation and anticipation. You see, you've got to be prepared. You got to be prepared. And in your mind, you've got to run through what are the possible reasons that the person could reject or object to you. And what are you doing to not set up this rejection or this objection? You see, when you enter a discussion, you should always anticipate what the objections are going to be. You should always know this in advance. And you can base this on the data collection you do through life. Because each and every experience in a conversation can be data that you can use to get better. You see, what you've got to do is you got to set up the conversation. You got to set it up. And this can also go down to the initial greeting of the customer, looking at how you sell yourself. And this is a hard one. Let me ask you a question. Do you have true charisma? Are you a person that just exudes charisma to others? Whether it's from the words you speak, the confidence you hold? Because what you've got to do in order to not face rejection, not face objections, you've got to establish trust with that other person. You've got to be working on building a relationship. So again, when you present the information that you prepared and you anticipate the objections you face, you also have to be prepared with your power questions. You have to include the anticipated rejection you're going to face and also the objections in your initial conversation. In other words, you don't wait for the rejection and the objection to come up. Rather, you address these in the initial conversation. You know, it would be really great if you had the time to do an impact study for each and every customer that you approach. But quite simply, it's just not possible. But here's an idea that can work for you. Maybe it's time that you start journaling your own experiences in the real world. Record your own experiences, write them down, assemble the data, assemble how you win, when you win, and assemble the reasons of failure. From doing this, you can build a tremendous wealth of knowledge on how to win in the rejection objection world of leadership and sales by understanding the behavior patterns of both yourself and others. You see, that's what behavior pattern assessors will tell you. The first part you have to understand is yourself. If you don't understand your own behavior patterns and how they affect those that you meet, then how in the world are you ever going to be able to put it together in a way that you can make it work for you? You see, one of the best teachers in life is our real world experiences. That's how you become a great parent, by the experiences that you go through. Whenever you had a small child, you had no idea what parenting a teenager, a young adult was even going to be like. But by taking notes, just like during a class, if you take notes at a class, you're going to have a 7 times better chance of remembering what you're listening to. So real life experiences are going to serve you. But in order to make it work, you got to follow this path, journaling it, accumulating your data on the various personalities you will cross the path of, learning to understand the different behavior patterns of others in the world. There's a process we use here at CVC Success Group, and Sheryl's certified in this, which is DISC assessment. And in this, it divides the world into 4 types of behavior patterns. But it goes deeper than that because it also does additional in-depth research into the values that that person holds dear. But if you want to counter this, If you want to be able to counter rejections and objections and put these methods to work for you, you got to put these new methods and processes to work for you because you have to be prepared to implement them. And very likely, this is going to require change. And let me tell you something, change can be painful. It really can. But if you want to become better as a leader, better as a salesperson, what you've got to do is make the change. Or either you have to become content that you're never going to get past the rejections and the objections as other people will have. When you try to share with them your ideas, your concepts, the things that you're trying to accomplish. So listen, stay tuned tonight because coming up in just a minute, Cheryl's going to be sharing her weekly tips of wisdom. This is a segment we call Cheryl's Tidbits. So don't run off because she's going to be right with you.
It's so hard to find people. Nobody shows up for interviews anymore. I just don't know where to find people. You hear it everywhere, and you're not alone. The CVC Success Group has the experience and expertise in assessing candidates, conducting interviews for you, onboarding, and training your new hires for a path of success in their new career. Reach out to CVC Success Group and let's talk about the challenges you're facing today.
Always be able to say, I'm glad I did, instead of I wish I had. So everyone understands that's my POV, or my point of view. Several years back, I was in a speaking group, and we were asked to write down our point of view. Not really understanding what a point of view was, except it entailed that it was it's your perspective on life. And I began to search within myself. The one thing that I kept coming back to was always be able to say, I'm glad I did, instead of I wish I had. Now, how many times in life have you said, I wish I had done it? I wish I had finished that book before I gave it away. I wish that I would have visited whoever while I was in town. I wish I'd spent more time with my children. I wish I'd spent more time with my parents, my spouse. Wish I'd told someone I loved them one more time. As I'm recording this, it's 2 days before the anniversary of my father's passing. I spent 15 weeks in ICU and then 10 weeks following that in the hospital with him after aneurysm surgery. 2 years after that, I walked with him down the final path with cancer. We had many conversations over those several years, and a lot of them were just about life, about things that we didn't get to talk about while he was in health, while he was working, while he was out of the house many, many hours. But I had those years to tell him everything and to hear everything that he had to say. But to be honest, even today, there remains that wish I had one more time to tell him I loved him. Okay, everyone needs to search out what their POV is. Something that if you were asked to give a speech on anything, your POV could be the basis of it. That's what they were searching for when they asked me to write mine down. I can take my POV, always be able to say, I'm glad I did, instead of I wish I had, and speak on basically any topic I encounter. I told you my story about the time that was very important in my personal life, but my POV can also cover you in business and how you deal with it. How many times have you ever looked back and said, If I only had done this or that, my business would have been better. Was it a choice that had to be made? And if so, there should be no regrets. Or was it one that you didn't make because of fear of failing? Or just honestly knowing that you wouldn't carry it out if you made it? I was always told that you never know unless you try. If you say you never failed, let me say one thing: you never tried much of anything. Failure is only failure if you don't learn from it. Failures are the stair steps to success. Without failure, you will never know when you succeed. Every success has a cost, and each failure is part of the tuition. My POV is mine, and it will always be mine. But you're welcome to use it, and go ahead and make it yours until you can write your own down and live your life by it. Again, always be able to say, I'm glad I did, instead of I wish I had. When making your decisions on objecting or rejecting something, think about my POV and make your decision or rejection so that it fits into the glad I did column. I just want to say thank you for allowing me to share a small part of my life and my thoughts today. With that, I'm going to turn it back over to Jerry to add some extra words of wisdom and knowledge. Have a good day.
As a business owner, you know where you want to take your business, but things keep popping up to block your way. You're not alone. It's hard to see clearly when you're so close to the situation. Where are the roadblocks? What do you need to tackle first? You went out and took a big risk because you've got dreams for your family and your community, and it's time to turn those dreams into reality. CVC Success Group has a proven system to do just that. It's time we talk.
I hope the things that Sheryl and I have shared with you today will help you in your role as a leader, as a salesperson, as a technician, as a parent, and even as a member of the human race, and in the way you communicate with others. After all, proper communication and the ability to get others to buy into your thoughts is how you move to a higher level and how you can raise yourself to the level that you aspire to be. But our thoughts are shared with you today. They're even more than that. Because as business leaders, who our podcast is geared to, you're involved in the sale of your ideas, your concepts, and your dreams. Likely you have a vision for that business, for the enterprise that you manage, that you possibly founded. As such, you as a leader must learn how to anticipate rejection, how to understand it, and how to respond with objections. Remember what I shared with you. Objections are often a case of, I just don't have the right information. But another factor is, the story that you shared just simply didn't give them the benefit where they would buy in. Or the other factors involved to counter the objections, or to counter your lack of preparedness when rolling out new ideas, new concepts, and sharing what's in it for those that you lead, not just what's in it for you. Think about my words as you observe the rejection and objections of real life as we live it each and every day. Remember, start journaling, make your notes. You're going through real world education each and every day that you've been granted to live on this green earth. So use this to increase your level of communication, to increase your leadership ability, and to increase your ability to have your thoughts, your ideas, your concepts bought into by those that you share these with. You do this, you're going to find yourself moving to a phenomenal level, maybe more than you ever envisioned. Again, will it take change? You better believe it. But as I said before, change can be painful. It really can. And what we each have to do is decide if we want to continue with the pain we're under or go through the pain of change. And with that, I want to thank you for joining us here on this week's episode of Chimney and Fireplace Success Network. My name's Sheryl Isenhour. I'm with CVC Success Group. And if myself or any member of our team can assist you, please reach out to us at info@cvcsuccessgroup.com, because we really look forward to the opportunity to speak to you. And in closing, let me pass this along. It's an honor, it's a privilege, and it's a pleasure for Sheryl and myself to be able to share our ideas with you each and every week in this manner. See you on our next episode. Hope you have a great week.
Thanks for joining us here each week at the Chimney and Fireplace Success Network, sponsored by CVC Success Group, providing you the coaching and educational outreach services you need to move to your dream destination in business and in life.